Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you were able to watch the previous video on doing businesses in Uganda, the things that you need to know. If you haven't watched, please look for it. It's up, it's linked up. Among the things that we talked about was the legal framework. And that is exactly what we are here to talk about. Starting a business in Uganda legally, legal frameworks, legal regulations, the requirement, the law, what do I need to know, what are the laws that are in place, what are the things that I need to start with, so that I'm not caught on the wrong side of the law, what are those must do according to the law. Ladies and gentlemen, there are several things, but among the things that you need to pay attention to, you need to be able to comply with the legal requirement. That is including obtaining an investment license. You need a work permit. You need a TIN, which is the tax identification number. You need to look out for UNBS because that's the body that controls standards in the country. You need to deal with KCCA, the Kampala Capital City Authority, and their trading license. That's if you want to operate within Kampala region. And then you need to know very many things, which we are going to be talking about today. To start with, you need to have your business registered, legally registered. That is very key. Now, here we are talking to people who are focusing on doing their business formally, and also if you're looking at building a long-term entity, not the quick cash of sale, kuyiriba, what we call kuyiriba in the local language of sale, just sell and go. But if you're looking at formalizing your business and setting it up, you need to have it legally registered. Now, the registration, you have to register it under the Ugandan law, first of all. Now, registration can be, depending on the business you want to do anyway, which could be maybe you want to do partnerships, maybe you want a single member company, you want a private limited company, you want to register an NGO, or whichever form that you want. Is it a trust? Is it a company limited by guarantee? All those different types of company, it's important that you legally register with the laws of Uganda. Now, in doing the registration, the body that is in charge is the URSB. You need to look out for their websites and get much of that information on the cost that is involved, on registering which type of company, on the requirements that they require you to give. All that is under the URSB. You could check out their socials, you could check out their website. And once you have done your registration of your company, then you are required to proceed and obtain a TIN. A TIN is a tax registration number, which is special to a company, that TIN is special to the taxpayer, whether a body or an individual. And the importance of it is it identifies you, and anything that regards Uganda Revenue Authority or tax payment is done under your TIN. So you reach out to Uganda Revenue Authority, and they will require that you go with that certificate of registration for your company to be able to register that TIN. If you're an individual and you want to start business, you can start a business that is attached to your TIN as well. And yes, we'll be having a team of URA people we will talk deeper into that. So without a TIN, your business won't actually be able to also have a bank account, because for you to open a bank account in the names of your company, they will require that you provide that tax identification number that is issued by URA. Now, once you're done with your TIN, in addition to, now these are requirements by law. There's no way out of it. There are no shortcuts. So once you are done with obtaining your TIN, if you are a foreigner, you're actually required to obtain an investment license that is issued by the Uganda Investment Authority before operating in Uganda, if you're choosing to put your funds here. So if you are registering it and you're not a foreigner and you are based in Uganda, then you will have those other registration certificates that they will be able to give you. depending on the authority and the jurisdiction where you're operating, just like we talked about KCC and all that. Now, speaking to those that are investing foreignly and require the investment license that is being issued by the Uganda Investment Authority. Now, if you are a company, then you are required to have, if you're locally, you're not a foreign company. You are a local investor. You are an investor from within. Okay, I don't want local sounds local, but yes, that's what I'm trying to mean. If you are from within, then the companies need to be meeting a threshold of 50,000 US dollars, and that is for the domestic investors. So if you're a domestic investor, then you need $50,000 for you to be able to get that Uganda Investment Authority investment license. Whereas for people that are foreigners, they require 250 US dollars for that registration. In short, we are saying that your capital should be that big, not that that is the money that you're supposed to pay for that certificate. So that is the amount that you require. So according to the Uganda Investment Authority, individuals that intend to actually engage in trade do not require they don't require a license, but must prove that they have access to funds. The funds that you're looking at, the operating capital, you're looking at $100,000 US dollars before trading license is issued to you by the investment authority. So that's is in line to you want to industrialize, you want to do that big investment. Those are the thresholds. However, there are those who this shouldn't shock out or kick out the small business entrepreneurs and investors. No, this figure is for people that want to industrialize, for people who want to do big businesses in the country and invest. And that, I think for me, that also puts out the what we always have out there, where people say Ugandans are favoring foreigners and then they are not favoring domestic investors, which is not right. Because if you look at the figures, whereas the foreigners are required to have 250,000 US dollars, the threshold that is required for the domestic investors or the local investors is 50,000 US dollars. For you to register your business as an industry, for you to go into manufacturing, for you to be able to go into the industry, for you to benefit on those benefits that they give out there to the investors, to the incentives that are available to the people that are into the manufacturing and are into value addition and doing industries. That capital is what is required. The other thing that once you have gotten your license, we assume that now you have your license of operating from Investment Authority, then you will be required to have work permits. Now, work permits are required for people that are foreigners. Like if you're doing a foreign investment in the country, Uganda, then you are required to actually have your work permits processed. One must possess a valid one issued by the Ministry of Internal Affairs under the Immigration Department, if I may get it right. So you reach out to the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and then they process a working permit. The requirements of securing a working permit are also different, like they're really various, depending on the work permit that you want to do. In the sense of depending on the business that you want to do the work permit. So the work permits are costed differently depending on the industry in which you are investing in. So if you're investing, say, in the manufacturing industry, or you're in the transport sector, or you're in the construction sector, or you're in the agricultural sector, so your permits, the work permits, vary differently. So there's getting a work permit you as an industry, but it's also important that you pay attention or you get the working permits for your employees, especially those that are foreign in the country, that you want to import in expertise, that you want to get foreigners come and work. So ensure that they actually have working permits, process them for them, or make sure that they process them. Now, why these things are important is for you to avoid the penalties that come with non-compliance. You don't want to get yourself on the wrong side of law. You don't want to get your workers imprisoned for not having work permits or not following the rightful regulations. Now, in some cases, in isolated cases, some businesses may require a secondary license. Secondary license is in the sense of additional permits. So the first that we spoke about, the work permits, are the ones which are very key. But then you may have, depending on the business that you're doing, it may be closer or having an impact on the environment. Then you're going to have to require an environment permit. You're going to require a health and safety permit, especially for those people that are into manufacturing, because it's very key that we safeguard the labor, the people have the gears that are required, the rightful gears that they have to wear. So they inspect, and then the impact that your industry will have on the health of the workers and also on the health of the people that surround that industry. So, and another one could be in the construction, yes. So if you're also in the construction, you also need that permit. Those are the secondary permits and so much more. So it's important, ladies and gentlemen, just like we said, the channel is to kickstart, to bring to your attention the things on your mind, and then you can dig deeper. You need to get deeper and familiarize yourself with the details of all those things that are required before you really make that decision. Another legal requirement that is actually required in the country, in Uganda, especially for manufacturing industry, and then the importation and then the exportation of goods, is the UNBS clearance. Now, UNBS is the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, and this is the body that regulates the standards in Uganda. So you will need, why it is important for you as a manufacturer to have that clearance is to make sure that your goods actually meet the standard that are set by the body, because it's the regulating body. And for the importations, you also need the permits from UNBS, because it's important that whatever you are importing meets the standard, especially, and they're also good for the consumption of the population of this country. So you will need that certificate, you will need certificate of conformity. All those certificates, please reach out to what we call the UNBS. You will need that if you intend to come actually in the manufacturing, or you want to actually import or even export. And why it is important with the exports is because Uganda itself signed up and is a member of so many bodies, the ESC, AGOA, and so many others. And these organizations or these bodies have regulations or have standards that they have said that have to be followed. So it's important that they are established here before you make your losses and take the goods, and they're rejected on the international market. So that is why we require all that. So for UNBS to actually be able to give you this clearance, they will ask you for what we talked about before, which was the TIN, the tax identification. So it is step by step, like you don't skip one because it will drag you back. So you will need your TIN, you will need an email, an operational email to your company as a person if you're trading as an individual. And then you also need a certificate of incorporation to actually prove that your business is registered, because we would not want to deal with briefcase businesses if you're going to have to go through these legal entities. Ladies and gentlemen, after the UNBS, now that you have your certificate, you have your UNBS clearance, it has cleared that you're able to satisfy all these requirements. Another body that you don't need to miss out, that is a must or required, especially if your business is going to fall in the central region, is the Kampala City Council Authority, which is the KCCA. So KCCA gives trading licenses for traders or businesses that are operating within Kampala, because it regulates the Kampala region. The Kampala region, where you have Nakawa, you have Kawempe, you have Machinde, the 4 divisions. So you will have the registration obtained from KCCA, and that's a trading license. Even now, this applies to even the small businesses. I want to open up a shop in Chikubo. I want to open up a shop on Kampala Road. I need to open up, for as long as you're trading within the central region, which is Kampala, the city authority, the city center, the capital city, you're required to have this certificate. So reach out to KCCA offices and then be able to obtain. The cost of the trading license also varies on the type of business that you are doing. So I would recommend that you reach out to KCCA and obtain that trading license as required, not to be fined or to be found on the wrong side of the law. Now, for those that are, once your business is into manufacturing industry and a big business, and also into the technology bit, if technology is one of the things that you actually highly consume, it is very important and required that you register your business with NITA, which is NITA Uganda registration. Now, registration with the NITA, which is the National Information Technology Authority, Uganda, is mandatory for all companies operating in Uganda, and involves the registration of a company's IT system. They register your software, then your hardware, and you have to register all with that authority, which is NITA. Now, NITA's registration is also a very simple one. As long as you have your requirements in place, you will need to register with your data protection office. You need to go register with the data protection office, provide your documents of incorporation. So that's why we get back that you can't skip steps. Go into your steps. Have your company was registered, so bring forth your registration. Submit a written undertaking known to process or store personal data in a country outside Uganda, unless such country has an adequate measure in place, or at least an equivalent to the protection provided by the Uganda data protection law. So we are keen also on what data is able to fly out of the country and is being controlled. Then you actually also are required to submit a summary of all complaints that you receive, because in doing business, in doing all this, as you have customer care and all that, there are complaints that come in from clients from anywhere. So those complaints are actually required that they are submitted also to NITA for purposes of the government's also use and evaluation, and for purposes of also doing the policies and knowing where to, because it's data that informs most of the decision. So you should be able to submit that summary sheet and the action that you have taken. If you're dealing with big monies, like the monies we mentioned above, it's very important that you comply with the anti-money laundering obligation. So currently, Uganda, we work with we have the Anti-Money Laundering Act, that's number 12 of 2013. So as businesses in Uganda, you are obliged to actually take the measures that are required to avoid money laundering and financing of terrorism. So all these requirements, this requirement is actually in place to be able to protect your business as it operates here. You don't want to have to invest your money and then someone else is laundering money, and then they're not, because it's dirty money, it's money that is not has not been worked for, then the competition and the market will not be balanced. So all these policies are in place to be able to protect your business, to be able to protect your investment in the country. So you need to look out for the Financial Intelligence Authority. That is the authority that actually regulates and controls the anti-money laundering obligations. Next, ladies and gentlemen, is the beneficial owners form. So the beneficial owners form is actually something that has recently been introduced by UNBS in the country. So it's very key that you pay attention to it. It was introduced as a requirement for all companies operating in Uganda to disclose their beneficial owners and identities. And the purpose of this form is to actually increase transparency and prevent that laundering and terrorism that we talked about. It is one of the measures of controlling of terrorism, ladies and gentlemen. A minute. Sorry, I had to clear my voice a little because of the cough that it has. So, among the other things, beneficial owners actually could be individuals, or they could be people that have interest or control in the business. You could be controlling a business directly or indirectly. You have shares. In short, okay, we are saying, I know recent we had shares that were being advertised. Airtel sold out its shares. MTN went on and sold out its shares. So you're a beneficial owner, whoever bought those shares, to that entity. So it's important that your interest is also declared, because we know resources flow from there and then they flow unto you. So they register you, and so you are benefiting from it. The form is to be filled annually and is also due in 6 months of the company's financial year end. So those are the regulations that surround it. And failure to comply with that actually comes with penalties and fines, or even the dissolution of your company. So it's very important that you actually take on this and pay attention to this. By following all these legal requirements, ladies and gentlemen, entrepreneurs, business people, investors, it's for our good. It's very important because it enables you to launch out your business right and get things right at the very start. Penalties and the cost of non-compliance is high and is detrimental to your business. So that is why we need to avoid this. So, as you choose to put your funds in Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, paying attention to all the things that we've talked about in the above, I would refer you to, as my conclusive remark, to the Uganda Investment Authority, which is the primary agents for promoting and facilitating investment in this country. Visit their website, go on their socials, follow them on the media, check them out on Twitter, check them out on their socials for more information, and read, research, equip yourself with as much information as possible. Some of this information is out there and it will prevent so much. It will save you so much. And but the good news also is that the Uganda Investment Authority has a one-stop border for all these services. In short, you don't have to keep running around from one point of the city, one point of the country to be able to do this. It has all these agencies that we talked about above, and what they provide in one-stop center at their head office. So you could reach out at their head office and get this sorted. I hope this has been beneficial to you, and please stay tuned. Remember to subscribe and keep with us for this content and much more. Till next time.